A very good evening and welcome. This is News First Weekend Primetime News here on MTV Sports and Shakti TV. I'm Ramesh Irugal Bandara. As always, let's start off with a look at your headlines.
When is the presidential election?
ජාතික මැතිවරණය පිළිබඳව පළවෙනි ප්‍රවෘත්තිය ඉදිරි පැය 72 තුලදී තමනාසලට අහන්න ලැබෙවි.
President elaborates how he used executive powers.
විධායක ජනාධිපතිකම පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙනවා. නැත්තේ නෑ.
Crude oil prices plunge in the world market again. Clash during the Interclub Champions League football encounter.
Our top story: unsportsmanlike conduct was reported from a football game this evening in Colombo. A tense situation arose during the Interclub Champions League game between Java Lane Football Club and Nandi Mitra Football Club after a decision of the referee was challenged. Speaking at a function in Galevilla yesterday, President Mahinda Rajapaksa elaborated on how he utilized executive powers.
This event was held to commence construction work on the Beligama entry point in Galevilla of the Northern Expressway.
I did not at any given time misuse these powers. I have used the executive presidency. I am not saying I haven't. I used it to see an end to the war and develop the country. When we were carrying out tasks, certain groups looked upon us with hate and jealousy. There was an era where certain details in the newspaper were edited out. The paper was printed, but there was no content. The content have been edited out by the official concern. If the president or the government was criticized in the newspaper, that section was edited out. Today the media has forgotten all of this. We however said that you could write absolutely anything. If there was a vacant plot of land, they say it belongs to Basil Rajapaksa. If a house was built, it was built by Gotabaya Rajapaksa. They claim that from Gaul Road to all the way up to Temple Trees belong to me. However, the people have rejected these allegations. I strongly believe as long as we have the blessings of the Sri Mahabodhi and the temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic, we will always have the blessing of God.
Meanwhile, Mayor of Gampula and Chief Organizer of the United National Party, Sarath Gamini Hettiarachchi, crossed over to the United People's Freedom Alliance today. A powerful activist of the UNP for 25 years, Sarath Gamini Hettiarachchi served as the Mayor of Gampula for 12 years. President Rajapaksa obtained the blessings of the Temple of the Sacred Tooth Relic this morning. Thereafter, the President visited the Malvatu Viharaya, called on the chief incumbent of the Malvatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatuave Sri Sumangala Thero, and inquired into his well-being. The head of state also called on the chief incumbent of Askiri chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Udugama Sri Buddha Rakita Thero, at the Askiri Viharaya. Several urban development projects which were completed under the Kandy Urban Development Plan was declared open by the President. The Kandy Central Bus Stand, which was constructed at a cost of 20 million rupees, and a shopping complex constructed at a cost of 289 million rupees was also declared open by the President during his visit to Kandy. President Mahinda Rajapaksa also inquired into the well-being of the general public who arrived to the town.
Brought to you by 4 seasons of protection with H&B Assurance Life Policies.
Well, much anticipated details of the upcoming presidential election were revealed during an event held in Mathura today. The event was held to declare open the main campaign office of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party in the Hakmana area ahead of the presidential election.
The first news item of a national election will be released to you over the next 72 hours. The official announcement of a presidential election should be made by the President himself. Thereafter, the time period for the elections to be held will be decided by the Elections Commissioner. In line with the Constitution, the elections must be held within 45 days from the day the announcement is made. What has happened now? Why hasn't the opposition been able to find a common candidate? The author of the book, Queen of Deceit, and the Queen of Deceit herself are sitting together now. The person who said that any bull can fight a war is now sitting together with the bull. I'm just stating what I see on TV. Who comes up with these things? Today there are various forces who are against what we are trying to do. They are trying to create unwanted ideals together with foreign forces. We will start off from here, and the dates for the presidential elections will be set within the first 2 weeks of January 2015.
Brought to you by 4 seasons of protection with H&B Assurance Life Policies.
On our developing story tonight, speaking at an event in Batramulli yesterday, Minister of Housing Vimal Weerawansa commented on the common candidate for the upcoming presidential election.
The event was held to present Diriya Nagarika housing loans to 200 low-income families in the Colombo district. When you're travelling on the road and see someone, tap them on the back and ask, "Are you the common candidate?" I will definitely raise this question. You cannot find a common candidate. Who is the common candidate? I looked around for one when I came here. It is common these days. If needed, you can also start a reality TV program where you can name the correct common candidate and win millions in cash. You have to salvage everything. The child is the hard-won piece. You need to move forward by saving all in hand. The secret collective is attempting to make this nation throw away all elements.
Developing story brought to you by
the all-new smart refrigerators with a 10-year warranty from Samsung.
Welcome back to the news. A group of representatives of the Democratic Party, including its leader, Sarath Fonseca, called on the Mahanayakas of the Malwatu and Askiri chapters today.
Democratic Party leader Sarath Fonseca called on the chief incumbent of the Malwatu chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Tibbatuavi Sri Sumangala Thero at the Malwatu Mahaviharaya. A group including Anoma Fonseca, parliamentarian Jayantha Kataguda and Western Provincial Councillor Susil Kindal Pitia were also present for this occasion. Thereafter, Sarath Fonseca, who visited the Askiri Viharaya, called on the chief incumbent of the Askiri chapter of the Siam sect, Most Venerable Udugama Sri Buddharakita Thero.
We believe that this country could be saved if everyone in the opposition unites as one strong unit, just as last time, and put forward a common candidate. At that moment, it is essential that a strong character who loves the country and could be trusted is put forward. If the opposition parties rally around such a character, I assure that we too will pledge our support. However, we take the forefront in the act of overthrowing this corrupt ruler.
Sarath Fonseca thereafter paid homage to the Temple of the Sacred Tooth relic and then had cordial discussions with devotees there. Meanwhile, Democratic Party leader Sarath Fonseca launched a public petition in the Kandy town demanding that his voting rights be granted.
The only reason they took away his right to vote is because they are afraid of General Sarath Fonseca. They obtained a letter via the Elections Commissioner and got the letter seconded by the signature of the Attorney General. That was the wish to take away the voting right of the hero who saved this country. Today this country is at a decisive juncture. Place your first step here from the historic hill capital.
In news from Parliament, Chief Opposition Whip John Amruthunga urged in Parliament today that the document responding to the referral on whether the incumbent president could or could not contest a presidential election once again be tabled in Parliament.
Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva announced in Parliament the response of the Supreme Court on whether the President can contest for a third term or not. He read out only 2 lines stating that the President has no impediment in doing so. Now we here, the opposition, does not know anything based on what reasons and facts this determination was passed. So I kindly request you, the Speaker, at the very least interfere in this matter and table it in Parliament so that we too can know.
දැනගන්න අවස්ථාවක් සලසලා දෙන්න කියන එක තමයි කාරුණිකව ඉල්ලන්නේ. දැන් කතානායකතුමා වෙත ලැබුණු විකාශ සභාව දැනුවත් කරනවා.
The expenditure head of the Ministry of Local Government and Provincial Councils was taken up for debate in Parliament today. Subject Minister A.L. Mataula expressed these views during the debate.
අඩු ආදායම් ප්‍රාදේශ සභාවලට පළාත් පාලන ආයතන වලට
1 million rupees was given per month for low-income Pradesh Sabhas and local government institutions. During this budget, he made allocations for 2 million rupees to be given a month.
පළාත් පාලන ආයතනයේ മന്ത്രിවරුන්ගේ දීමනාව දැන් වැඩි කරලා තියෙනවා. මේ ප්‍රාදේශ සභාවේ മന്ത്രിවරුන්ගේ දීමනාව
From November, the allowances of members of local government institutions have been increased. The allowance of a Pradesh Sabha member has been increased to 15,000 rupees from November. In addition, the allowance of the deputy chairman has been increased to 20,000 and for the chairman it has been increased to 25,000 rupees. The allowance for urban councillors has been increased to 20,000 rupees while the allowance for the deputy mayor has been increased up to 25,000 rupees and for the mayor 30,000 rupees.
ඒ වගේම නගරාධිපතිතුමාගේ 15 තිබුණේ 15000යි 30000කට වැඩි කරලා තියෙනවා.
The expenditure heads of the Ministry of Health were debated this evening at the House of Legislature.
For a span of 40 years, the Seneka Bibile policy was not implemented. Today, the bill and the policy is simply being postponed. The number of medications manufactured in Sri Lanka in 2006 was 47, and that number had dropped to 8 as of 2010. The audit report of 2010 says that 435 million rupees worth of medicine that was purchased was of low quality. When it was confirmed that the medicine was of low quality, they were distributed among over 81% of the patients. During the past 6 years, 19,000 metric tons of medicine have been destroyed. Why? Because of low quality. For decades, you have been given the stepmotherly treatment by your own government. I hope that even after my speech, that will be stopped.
හිටපු ජනාධිපතිවරයෙක් විදියට මම ඉතාම ගරු කරනවා රණසිංහ ප්‍රේමදාස මහතුමා.
I respect the former President Ranasinghe Premadasa. When he was the state leader, the drug policy that you say we have failed to implement should have been implemented. However, we are aware that none of this happened during the father's time and the son's time as well. Our free health service has seen rapid developments. We named the year 2014 as the year where we will build a community free of drugs. The year 2014 will see a new page being turned in the health sector of this country.
The Tamil National Alliance raised a question in Parliament today over a recent homicide in the north.
A 40-year-old father of two, Krishnasamy Naguleshwaran, was gunned down by an unknown gunman in Vellankulam, Mena. This is an area with complete army protection. Everyone knows that there are uniformed and plainclothes military personnel in every part of Mena, Vaunia and Kilinochchi. In such an environment, how did this murder take place and what was the aim of it? This homicide takes place ahead of the presidential election. The victim was one who was at a state rehabilitation camp for a year and a half. The government says that over 10,000 persons were rehabilitated. There are two matters that arise here. This is an attempt to chase away the youth of the country or to instill fear on who would be killed next. The other is to create a notion ahead of the presidential poll amongst the Sinhala community that the LTTE is still operating and to prevent the youth from entering politics. This needs to be condemned. The government planned this killing. This is an attempt to chase away the Tamil people. This needs to be stopped.
Welcome back. This is Newsfirst Weekend Primetime News. Up next is Action TV.
These persons hope that one day they will be able to leave the island and perform elsewhere. They not only have the time to explore their talents on the weekends but also dance on Fridays as well, and they live in the Uchumalai Island, which is the second largest island of the chain of Kalviti Islets. However, at present they have lost their cultural identity. The reason for this is the medium of study at the Uchumalai Roman Catholic Tamil Vidyalaya, which teaches until grade 5 be changed to Sinhala. Education authorities at the northwestern province resorted to this measure as a result of the lack of Tamil medium teachers to conduct classes at this school in Sinhala only on 4 days of the week. If one thinks that it is not suitable and not sufficient for one, he or she should move to a school in Kalpitiya. The cost of one boat trip to make that journey to Kalpitiya is 5,000 rupees. The people of this island who are fishermen by profession also have the burden of this additional expenditure on their laurels. The reason is because they have to reach the Kalpitiya port, which is 14 kilometers away from the Uchumalai island in order to sell their produce. Although these are the people who come down the generations that lived in this island for more than a century and contribute to national economy, they are yet to receive their right to the lands. When compared to the other islets of Kalpitiya, these locals say that they have sufficient drinking water. Although it has not been medically proven that the water here is good for one's health, the locals of the islet are of the views that the water that is dug up from the ground is not harmful to their bodies. However, it is questionable whether or not the groundwater is contaminated by these materials that are seen on the shores of the island. Despite the Kalpitiya Pradesh Sabha has not taken any measure to remove this waste, a ballot box is dispatched to the Uchumalai island during every election to gain the votes of these islanders. In addition to the ballot box being placed in the island, it was over 3 years ago that electricity poles and a generator were brought to this island. In a backdrop where there are many uplifting programs taking place, is it not the responsibility of the government to not neglect the lives of 250 families by simply not even conducting mobile clinics? Chairman of the Putlam District Development Coordinating Committee, this is over to you.
In other local news, 20 Sri Lankan fishermen who were in the custody of Bangladeshi authorities were released today. The released men were a group of fishermen who had set out to sea aboard the vessels Sanjana 2, Kanti 10, Raja 7 and Chandima 6 vessels.
The group of fishermen were arrested by the Bangladesh authorities on the 17th of last month. The fishermen expressed these views to Newsfirst subsequent to their release.
Our vessels were caught in the Hudhud storm. In order to save our lives in vessels, we obtained permission from the government of Myanmar and 42 vessels that went down to sea. We reached Myanmar and changed course to Sri Lanka 50 miles away from the island. When we were coming back, we were caught in another storm. Thereafter, we were arrested. They lied to us, saying that we will be set free in the morning and that they will give us more fuel and other materials. The prisons in Bangladesh are very difficult to stay in. Any individual will be destroyed inside the Bangladeshi prisons. There is no water to bathe. There are only 4 small water basins. If you bathe in the afternoon, the jailers beat us. There is no cleanliness at all. There are other issues too. There is no place to sleep. If you have money, you can arrange for something. That is how life is there. I have never faced such an experience in my life. Some people were going to the extreme of suiciding. That's how extreme the conditions were. You only have water, rice and food. When we were in Sri Lanka, we had everything. We have no food, we have no water and no sanitation facilities.
Acting Sri Lankan High Commissioner to Bangladesh, A.G. Abesekara, speaking to Newsfirst, said that once the Bangladeshi authorities give them the green light, the Sri Lankan fishermen will be sent home.
We need a court order from Bangladesh to send the group and vessels back home. These 2 matters are pending. We need permission from the Ministry of External Affairs and the Ministry of Home Affairs. Once permission is granted, they will be sent back to the country.
An individual from Pandra staged a demonstration in close proximity to temple trees this morning, urging that his wife, who had gone missing for over 2 months, be found.
The individual says that he filed a complaint with the Wadhwa police over his wife's disappearance. As the complaint did not bear fruit, the individual had informed the Panadura superintendent of police on the matter. The man alleges that the police had harassed him subsequently.
SP office එකේ කට උත්තර 10ක් විතර දීලා තියෙනවා. මේ දරුවට ඉස්කෝලේට ගිහලා ලැජ්ජ කරනවා. මට ඒ පළාත ඉන්න දෙන්න පොලිසියට කම්ප්ලේන්ට් කරා කියලා. නීති ආසාමය පිළිබඳ අමාත්‍යාංශය ලියුමැල්ල මාසයක් වෙනවා. ඒක පොලිස්පතිතුමාට යොමු කළා. ඒතකොට නීති ආසාමය පිළිබඳ අමාත්‍යාංශය මොකටද මේ රටේ?
A police officer at the location handed the individual a mobile phone, citing that it was senior DIG of the Western Province, Anura Senanayake, on the line.
හරි අනුර සේනානායක මහත්තයා මට කතා කරා. දැන් එන්න කිව්වා. හැබැයි මේ ප්‍රශ්න විසඳුන්නේ නැති වුණොත් මහත්තයෝ ආයි මම මෙතෙන්ට එනවා. මාව නවත්තන්න හදන්න එපා. හරි?
After a brief discussion with the police, the individual left the premises escorted by the police. Newsfirst contacted acting police media spokesperson ASP Ruwan Gunasekara in this regard.
We got word of this. Afterwards, the senior DIG in charge of the Western Province, Anura Senanayake, intervened and directed this individual along with his children to a special investigations unit attached to the Merihana police. Thereby, an order has been issued to find this man's wife, who has been reported missing.
Speaking at an event in Biagama today, Minister Mervyn Silva said that he will not make any changes to his political journey despite being let down.
There is a saying that if you undertook a task, you must do it. I am not a person like that. If I cannot complete the task, I will hand it over to someone who is competent. That is my policy. With the arrival of General Fonseca in the previous election, many of those who were with positions hid. They were on the reverse gear. It was Mervyn Silva who stopped Fonseca at the Katnayake airport and at the Kelaniya temple. The whole country is aware of it. I will not leave the palace like Prince Siddharth. I will continue my political journey for you despite the setbacks.
United National Party parliamentarian attorney-at-law Suji Vasena Singh visited a group of houses in the Madampe area in Colombo 15 yesterday. Attempts are being made to remove these houses.
This area, known as the 312 Wata in Colombo, has 15 houses and 150 dwellings. The Urban Development Authority had informed the dwellers that the houses would be removed.
We will be satisfied if we receive a house with a similar ground. We are living amidst many hardships, therefore we face financial difficulties as well.
We have been living here for over 26 years. We have no issues here. We did not ask for houses. There are hundreds of thousands who still have no house. Provide them with houses and let the people in the area live here in peace.
We expect to provide facts to the courts to provide a just and fair solution to these poor people. I believe that if a just solution is provided, the people will not have any objections. If an additional 300-400 square feet is provided to them, they will be satisfied. We will present facts to the UADA and the courts. I am not here to gain any political advantage.
Our sister channel Shakti TV was presented with an award for the best music direction at the State Music Awards Festival 2014.
The State Music Awards Festival 2014 was held last evening at the BMICH. Yel Vanavil, a song in the album Uire, produced by Shakti TV, was selected for the award, and Shia Ul Hassan, who directed the song, accepted the award on behalf of Shakti TV. Meanwhile, a Shakti FM production, Niye Sol Nijam Tana, was among the shortlisted entries for Best Lyrics. The D.S. Manibadava Award, which is presented once in a lifetime, was presented to Kalasudamani Esh Shanmugaragavan.
Director of the Landslide Research and Risk Management Division at the NBRO, RMS Pandaro, says that the geological anomaly witnessed by people in close proximity to Mireb at the Kostanda does not represent a risk of landslides. He pointed out that the people of the area were moved that day based on a fissure that was witnessed in the ground.
There was panic amongst the locals when a fissure was reported from an area close to Mikebadda. The people were moved to camps. Yesterday, the NBRO conducted an inspection. Our observations were clear that this will not lead to a landslide and that was only limited to that area. We have issued a report on this to the authorities and the people can once again head back to their homes. Operations commenced today to recover the statue of the Kovil that was affected by the landslide in Miriyabadda. Our correspondent said that other items were also recovered from the dig today.
On business news tonight, the price of a barrel of crude oil has slumped further in the world market as the end of this week, below the current price of $80 per barrel. At the week ending, Brent crude and WTI, both major price benchmarks, traded at $77.78 and $75.82 respectively.
The price of crude oil at the London Brent traded at $115 over the past month. According to foreign media reports, oil prices have fallen 30% since peaking in June, pressured by a strong US dollar. According to the Reuters news agency, this is the lowest downfall in oil prices since 2010. Calling it a new chapter in oil market history, the International Energy Agency said weak demand, a strong US dollar and booming US oil production are all working against high prices for oil. The agency said in its monthly report that prices could fall further in 2015 after declining to their lowest level since 2010, below $80 per barrel. In 2010, when the price of crude oil in the world market traded at $80, a litre of petrol in Sri Lanka traded at 115 rupees, while diesel was priced at 73 rupees and a litre of kerosene oil was priced at 51 rupees.
An event to present educational aid to students who passed the Grade 5 scholarship examination in the Kalani Education Zone took place today under the auspices of Chief Minister of the Western Province, Prasanna Ranatunga.
Funds of the items that were distributed at the Vihara Mahadevi Balika Vidyalaya in Kiribadgoda were from the fund set up by UPFA Western Provincial Councillor, Attorney at Law Susara Dinal. Prizes were presented to over 100 students who passed the scholarship examination.
මම සන්තෝෂ වෙනවා බස්නාහිර පළාතේ මුළු ලංකාවෙම
I am happy that there are 40 students from the Western Province who are among the top 100 of the whole of Sri Lanka. It is our provincial council that allocates the highest amount of funds for education. I am aware that our councillor carries out a lot for education.
ලොකු වැඩ කොටසක් අධ්‍යාපනය වෙනුවෙන් කරනවා. සමහර පාසල් වලට
The allocations provided for some schools by the government are not sufficient. Principals make personal sacrifices for the development of the schools. Some principals are facing social challenges as well outside of school. In the midst of that, they work hard to educate you. Therefore, we need to appreciate them.
මහන්සි වෙනවා. ඉතින් ඒක නිසා ඒ අය කරන කාර්යයත් අපි බොහොම ආදරයෙන් සිහිපත් කරනවා.
A walk was organized in Colombo today in lieu of World Diabetes Day.
World Diabetes Day was marked yesterday and the walk organized in lieu of the day commenced at 7 a.m. from the Independence Square in Colombo. The walk was graced by First Lady Shiranti Rajapaksa. The walk made its way to the BMICH premises and an exhibition on diabetes commenced thereafter.
Walking is considered as a healthy activity. That is why this walk for diabetes was organized. In addition, the diabetes exhibition also raises awareness on the disease and on food patterns that need to be followed, as well as daily exercises. Diabetes screening is also taking place here.
Grammy Award-winning saxophonist Kenny G, who arrived in the island today, is currently performing at the Nelum Pokunat Theatre before thousands of music enthusiasts. Newsfirst Joel Outscoon caught up with the musical maestro when he arrived today.
Kenny G, who took the world by storm with his performances, is the biggest-selling instrumental musician of the modern era and one of the best-selling artists of all time, with global sales totaling more than 75 million records. In 1994, Kenny G won the Grammy Award for Best Instrumental Composition for Forever in Love. He has released many solo albums and collaborated with various artists. Addressing a media briefing held this afternoon, Kenny spoke about his passion of playing the saxophone.
I saw someone on television playing saxophone when I was 10 years old, and I was just inspired. I don't know why exactly, but it looked like something that I wanted to try. And when I started playing the saxophone, I enjoyed it right away, and I just kept practicing, and it's one of those things. It's like little things lead to the next thing. So I got good enough to be in my band. Then I was first chair, which made me feel good, so I practiced more, and then somebody said, hey, you're good, and that made me feel good, so I practiced more, and continue. So here, and I'm still practicing. I still practice three hours every day, so I'm still trying to become a better saxophone player. That's going to be with me forever. So I'll never master it, but I'll always try.
And in sports news, Australian fast bowler Mitchell Johnson was announced as the winner of the Sir Garfield Sobers Trophy for ICC Cricketer of the Year today.
Sri Lanka's Kumar Sangakkara, Angela Matthews, South Africa's A.B. de Villiers were shortlisted along with Mitchell Johnson for the coveted award by the ICC for Cricketer of the Year. Mitchell Johnson was also named the ICC Test Cricketer of the Year. South African A.B. de Villiers won the ICC ODI Cricketer of the Year award. Meanwhile, Australian Aaron Finch won the ICC 2020 International Performance of the Year award. No Sri Lankan cricketer was able to win an award this year.
And finally, across the world this week, headlines were dominated by the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall, the 1 year since Typhoon Haiyan and Catalonia's symbolic pole. We leave you tonight with a look at these visuals. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Rameshwar Bandara. Good night.